Welcome, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness, down the river of tranquility, to fill the lake of life with love.
And good evening, our fellow lovers of love out there, and welcome to those of you listening on KUBU 96.5 FM in Sacramento. We've got it's an interesting show tonight, and we've both had busy days. So
yes, we did. We had busy days, so this is our chance to come together.
This is a chance to come together. It's been
Well, wait a minute. We napped at the end of our day.
Yeah, we came home and napped for half an hour. So this has been, napped for half an hour has turned out to be an hour and a half, and you know how these things kind of go. And yeah, that's how it went here. And yeah. So, but it was a good day. It was a good day. I have condolulations are due to me again.
Congratulations.
No, condolulations.
Why?
Because I was reelected chair.
I knew it.
That's condolulations there. So,
well, that's what happens when you're responsible.
Yeah, it's not me responsible. No one had ever thought that was going to happen. But apparently it has. Communities apparently trust me to represent them. It's all gotten out of whack today. Well, it's because I didn't have a chance. I didn't have a chance. I overslept and didn't get a chance to really sit down and get the studio all set up today. All right. So we're all good. We've got an interesting show. We're going to start off with, I guess it's dating.
We should say dating.
It's going to start off with a dating clip we got from the web. We've done this thing where someone posts something to TikTok and someone else clips it and posts it to YouTube. And somehow that second person is more famous than the first person because, I don't know, they're stealing people's content and we're going to steal theirs. So that's how these things go. And then we've got our normal relationship questions, parenting questions. Then we're going to finish off with work. And for those of you who stick around for the whole show, you can end up with our intimacy questions. And so that's how kind of the show goes. We've got technically, I guess it's 5 segments. All right. We do our intro, which we talk about ourselves and a short introductory thing. On this time, it's dating. And then we have our segments on life, relationships, and whatnot. We didn't have any life questions today because I didn't have a chance to go through and find any.
Okay.
So we're actually, what that means is we're actually going to have to talk a little longer, so we have 54 minutes of content before we get to the intimacy.
Well, I think we can do that.
Or we're just going to have to be careful how we discuss intimacy. All right, so let's get started. So we've got this. I am so glad, isn't this every generation? You're so glad you're out of the dating scene. Everybody has said.
Oh, man. It was brutal then.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like now.
And, well, it's even harder now because, there used to be some standards that you could go to, right? If you needed to, everybody has to go to the grocery store, right? And so you could go and you could find people at the grocery store, but not everybody has to go to the grocery store anymore. You can have your groceries delivered. So some of those standbys, and this is what we got. We've got, let's see if I can click the right buttons tonight. We've got, oh, no, that's not that. That's not it. Oh, it'd help if I add it to the screen. All right, so let's take a listen to this thing real quick.
Grocery shopping. I tend to go Saturday morning or Sunday morning, depending upon my schedule, but don't end up seeing any men. Or what are the grocery shops that you're shopping at? Are you at Winco? Are you at Walmart? Are you at Safeway, Fred Meyer, New Seasons, Trader Joe's? Am I looking for the single men grocery shopping on the wrong days, times? Are you going every day after work to get fresh groceries? Is that when I should be going? Is that at 5? I don't know. Single women want to know. I'm happy to approach you in the grocery store if you're not wearing a ring. I just need you to be there when I'm there. So, I'm happy to adjust my grocery shopping schedule to accommodate.
I'm sorry, guys, to blow your cover, but they are there on weekday nights, and they are only there for 15 minutes in and out max.
Single.
So what do you think about the single men? Are they there on weekday nights You're there for more than 15 minutes because, frankly, the lines are as quickly as possible. This is true. But how old is that knowledge? Is that actually true these days? Are those single men, those tech-savvy single men that you're interested in, are they actually going to the grocery store? Or are they just getting their stuff delivered? And it's sad because she doesn't seem like, a lot of times you see these things.
And she's even willing to approach them.
Yes.
You don't even have to do anything.
I know. And a lot of these times you see
Just show up.
You see these things and they're kind of feeling like they're entitled or something. They kind of have an attitude. And you go, you know why she's having trouble. But she's pretty. She seems generally nice, interested to adapt. She doesn't seem like doesn't have the crazy eyes thing going on. So sad that she's having trouble.
Crazy eyes?
Oh yeah, some of these things you don't watch these things. Some of these things you got the person with crazy eyes, and you go, yeah, we know why she's having trouble keeping dates, keeping relationships. She's entitled. She got those crazy eyes. Yeah. By themselves, the crazy eyes don't mean anything, but it's a sense of entitlement and an attitude that goes with it. And go, yeah, I know why you're having problems. That's in the mirror, but she seems generally willing to adjust. She just seems very lonely and is trying to find. So my hint for people like that is stop trying so hard. I don't mean when you go to the store, if you see somebody and you approach them, but stop trying so hard.
It is a paradox.
It is a paradox.
That unfortunately, when you're trying too hard, you seem a little desperate.
Well, and it's your own attitude. When you're trying too hard, you miss what's on the periphery. You actually miss opportunities because you're so target focused, and you're going to miss the one that's actually there for you. And so you now maybe adjusting your schedule, go on a Wednesday night, Wednesday night. It's probably realistically, it's your best bet to get a single man. Now those are going to be, your working stiffs, right? Those are your blue collar workers. Single blue collar workers, you somewhere between 5 and 7 on a weekday night. They're picking up whatever they're going to eat for dinner, and there's no stereotype there anymore. It used to be that you could there's steak and potatoes and their can of beer, and it's no longer the truth. They could be picking up a vegan meal and, be a beefy construction worker and going and picking up a vegan meal these days. So those kind of things are those kind of things are out the window. But that's your best bet in that sense. But, the best way still to meet somebody new is to be introduced by somebody. And that happens when you aren't looking so hard. It just happens naturally. You come across somebody, you bump into somebody at the grocery store, and those kind of things are still the best way. It'll happen because she's attractive and earnest, and those are very attractive qualities.
Yes, they are.
Right? You don't have to be a 10, but she's attractive, she's earnest, she seems sincere, and if you have those qualities, somebody will want you. Somebody will find you physically attractive, regardless of what you think of your physical appearance, as long as you are attractive in the rest of you. And she doesn't even have that. She's physically attractive as well.
Well, my mother used to say, pretty is as pretty does.
Well, I was watching a comedian earlier, has kind of related, and she's a small woman. She's like 4'10" and barely 100 pounds, if that, right? She's little. Mm-hmm. And she says she accidentally found her ex-boyfriend's fetish, and it was large women. And she goes, what am I supposed to do with that? I'm not even a regular sized woman. She goes, what am I supposed to do with that? Nothing. You let his fantasy be his fantasy. You're his reality, right? In that case, remember, your reality, that's fantasy. Those are two different worlds, and you would much prefer to be in reality. So I don't know, enjoy some of your reality. And I feel bad for her. Just, I really do. And she's representative of a lot of people these days on both sides, where they want some kind of connection and they just don't know where to find it. I mean, literally, not where, literally physically where to find it.
So here's a tip for some single men looking for a relationship. If you want to go to the grocery store, spend a little more than just 5 minutes dashing up and down the aisle, and look around, say hello, be sociable.
Well, back when I was a teenager, when we wanted to go looking for members of the opposite sex, we went to the mall. We weren't shopping, but the women were.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And when I was single,
Mhm.
we would go to the club for the male burlesque.
Mhm.
And I would tell my guy friends, yeah, it was fun. There was a lot of guys there. And they go, what were the guys doing there? Because the women
Are there?
were there.
Yeah. That's why I took home ec.
My dad did that too, yeah.
Only guy in class for the first semester.
For the first semester.
And the other guy smartened up by the time the second semester rolled around. I was smarter than everybody else. I'm just saying. Somebody was thinking. All right. So.
For somebody who didn't have a girlfriend and didn't want one, you kind of got around.
Not really. I was liked by many, loved by few. All right, let's move on to relationships before I get myself. Oh, but before we actually hit relationship, it is Father's Day tomorrow, is it not?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, not that we pay much attention to these things in this household, but for the rest of you out there, have a happy Father's Day. And for the fathers out there, and for those of you who have, shall we say, issues with your father, have a day where you can put it aside. Necessarily doesn't have to talk with them. Just have a 24-hour truce within yourself. Take a break.
That's good advice.
Just,
yeah.
Instead of having the day where you kind of ruminate and just take a break. Give yourself a truce. You can have that discussion anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So instead of agonizing over Father's Day, don't do anything if that's what you need to do. So I don't have any big moving things for Father's Day or for these kind of things. I frankly think we should be more appreciative of these things every day, and by distilling them down to a day, we do it a disservice. I get how it's just not me.
Well, I never really, my father was absent. So, I never really celebrated Father's Day. In school, everybody would be making their Father's Day cards and things like this.
Mhm.
And I'm just over here going, okay, I'm faking it, So, and then as I got older, I made peace with it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a difference, though, and I don't know what to do with it. But in Mother's Day, we all kind of just ignore the issues with mothers, right? For the one day, we celebrate them regardless of their faults or whatnot, and we don't really do the same for fathers on Father's Day. Not that fathers need it, because let's be honest, most fathers have a feeling, a sentiment, something akin to the fact that you want to please me pleases me. Right? We don't care about what we get or don't get. If you give us a tie or nothing or a happy Father's Day, right, we're happy all the same. The thing isn't what's important. And many of us get that throughout the rest of the year. So Father's Day is just another day. So you don't need to have a special day when you get that specialness throughout the year. That's all I'm saying. So maybe I'm just lucky where I don't have to, but I don't think so. I think I'm just weird. All right, so let's move on. So we got
Well, I know most dads don't really.
Yeah, we don't.
You do it for the kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
For most of us, it's a day we can go play golf without feeling guilty. You know, that's that's for a lot of that kind of thing. It's a day you can kind of take for yourself without having to feel guilty, without having to work, that kind of thing. That's the best we get out of it. All right, so we got relationships. What do we got?
My wife doesn't want to dismantle the shrine to our dead son. How can I convince her it's for the best?
That's a very difficult one because you understand the need for the shrine, but there's also a time where it's you literally have to move on. I mean, you're never gonna recover fully from that, but that's like an anchor in your life, right? You can never get too far from that. You're never going to be able to, have a full life if you're anchored to this shrine.
Maybe she's not ready.
She's clearly not ready.
Okay.
But the trick is going to be getting her to the point where she is ready. And it's not his job. She needs to see a counselor.
Yeah.
And, probably one that specializes in death, because she's 34. They're in their mid to late 30s. And you lose a child at that age, it is earth-shattering. Doesn't matter what the age the child is, it's earth-shattering.
Yes, it is.
I mean, if you're 70 and you lose a child who's 50 to heart disease or something, it's earth-shattering as well. But it's a little different than when you lose someone who's clearly not old enough, to have lived any type of life.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be very difficult for her to get over. And at some point, she will need to modify the shrine. My guess is she's put a shrine like the whole room or something. And at some point, it'll maybe modify to a shelf and that type of thing.
And there's nothing wrong with having a shelf.
No. But there is a point. There can be a point where it's too much. She's too invested in it, and she's not going to be able to step away, and it's not good for her long-term mental health. But that's a journey he cannot help her with. If he tries to do that, and you're setting yourself up in a position that's going to be damaging to your relationship. So that's a professional's job.
It really is.
And your job is to support her through that process. So your task is to get her to see a professional, a death specialist, if possible. That's I would do. It would be our suggestion here, and we wish you the best of luck, and we are sorry for your loss. Okay, what's next?
My significant other is a Reddit troll, and I'm absolutely dumbfounded on what to do.
Nothing. Let her be an internet troll. It's not your business. Don't worry about it. It's not the most pleasant thing, to be an internet troll.
Well, apparently she makes comments, and she's been booted, and he's embarrassed.
But the world doesn't know, so what do you care? So what? She's a troll on Reddit. Reddit's full of trolls. She's just one of the pack. It is what it is. My guess is it's a way for her to vent her frustrations in life. Is it a healthy way for it? Probably not, but there's worse ways.
She could be out in the bars, dude. No, come on.
Yeah, and some people, it's fun for them, right? It is.
It's a stress relief.
It's a stress relief. It's a way to fight without fighting. It's a way to kind of test your verbal skills, even though it's in written form. So my suggestion is don't go onto Reddit. Let her be her thing. And I don't know, the fact that she's 37. At 37, you'd think you'd stop being a Reddit troll, but here's the problem: it's her hobby.
I'm getting, and I believe she's home a lot.
Yeah,
she's an at-home mom. Yeah.
Now, so the Reddit troll may not be the real problem, because he wants her attention when he's home, and she's busy trolling Reddit. And so my suspicion is if we dug down to the real issue, so what does he care what she's doing on Reddit? Didn't care. He cares that she's doing it when he wants some attention. Now, maybe there's some reason there is a bit of separation there, and that's some long-term relationship works on. So here's the thing. Make her time with you more interesting than her time with Reddit.
Okay.
Think of something fun and interesting to do. Maybe it's time to think about ways to rekindle the old spark in the relationship. There's nothing wrong with it.
Well, no.
Hey, man, she could be stuck in a rut. She may thinking she's having a good time, and she's not. She's just escaping something she doesn't want to deal with.
Yeah.
And it may be escaping just the normalcy of rut of being a stay-at-home parent and raising kids. It becomes monotonous, right? It doesn't necessarily mean anybody's doing anything wrong. It's just how life is sometimes. So change things up. That's my suggestion. I'm going to change that. My suggestion is do a little bit to change up your routine. Right? Figure out some way to change up your daily routine. That's my guess. Now, my guess is you're never going to. She's an internet Reddit troll because she likes to be a Reddit troll, but you can get her to spend some of that time that she's trolling with you, which I think is, now that I think about it, is probably the real problem. Okay, what's next?
My husband named our daughter after his high school sweetheart. How can I cope with this in a way that does not ruin our marriage?
Now, did it name it after the high school sweetheart, or does he just happen to like that name a lot?
Well, he said.
Well,
that was my high school sweetheart's name.
Yes, but that doesn't mean he named her because it was a high school sweetheart. It just means he can like that name. Like, I like lots of names. If I'd had another girl, one of them would have been named Alicia, who would happen to be one of the high school girls I went out with. But because I like the name, not because, so that's what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
It can just be that the name happened to be, and I like the name. And so you're not giving the name because, but you know of the name because, right? So how old are they again? They're in their 30s. At this point, get over your high school. He doesn't care about his high school sweetheart anymore. He likes the name.
Okay.
Now, if he was 21, right, instead of if he was 21 instead of 33, right? Okay, maybe it's a different story. But at this point, he just likes the name.
Huh. All right.
And it just happened to have been his high school sweetheart's name. And there's no real not in the emotion, not the way she's thinking. The emotional connection isn't the way she's thinking. Right? You can't lie and say there's no connection. He was honest. He told her. But it's not.
It's not the connection she's thinking. All right.
Yeah. Okay. And it's not an unreasonable thing for her to think about if she was 10 years younger. But in your 30s, I think you should be that kind of thing. She's 31. It's close enough to 20s, I guess. Depending on life experience you are.
31. Yeah. No, at 31, I would have been a little miffed.
Yeah.
It would have been upsetting. Yeah. So I can empathize.
Yeah. Well, this is one of these things where men are from Mars, women are from Venus. We're thinking two different ways. You guys think emotionally, we think logically. And so ours is, well, I just like the name. It doesn't have, so we don't have any emotion connected to it because you guys think with emotions and you've connected an emotion to it. And yeah, it's just our thought processes are different. And on occasion they crash into each other. So there we go. All right. So what's next?
My girlfriend never spends, but blames it on the woman tax. Is this real? Well, what woman tax? Okay, it costs more for clothes, shoes. We have to do makeup. We have our lady things that we have to buy,
Okay, but the only one of those things that is actually mandatory is your lady products. You don't have to buy makeup. We don't care. You care. Your clothes don't have to cost more than male clothes. You can buy the name brand clothes the same as we do. The Walmart brand clothes the same as we do.
We do, but we have more of them.
Yes, but you don't have to. It's a choice. Now, I'm not actually going to make the argument. You guys like that kind of stuff, fine. We buy silly stuff all the time, right? If that's where we choose to spend your resources, knock yourselves out, because my room is full of goofy electronic gear, right? And so I'm not going to complain. The complaint isn't. It's we need to think about these things as the human budget or needs, rather than, she spends more on clothes and personal items than you do. Does she really? How much Red Bull and stuff do you drink? If you actually sat there and gone through your budgets, my guess is we spend just as much money on stuff that they would consider frivolous as stuff that they could spend that we would consider frivolous. And so we all just need to, mind each other a little bit. Give each other the same kind of grace that you want. Now, she may actually have a spending problem, right? None of those things actually, she may or may not have a spending problem. We can't judge that unless we see her like Amazon bill and kind of go through it. And is she actually buying? Lots of people have spending problems. It's nothing new, right? Men, women, everybody, almost everybody goes through a period where they overspend. They get into debt, and then they learn the lesson, and they have to pay it. They pay it off and learn the lesson, right?
Yeah,
that is a common occurrence, and some people never learn their lessons. So whether she is overspending or not, we can't judge from here. But if you're talking about the daily kind of things, I would be more careful that she probably doesn't spend any more or much more than you do. If you kind of factor in all the goofy little spending that we all do. Probably. I can't throw stones because, I spend $2 here or $2 there all the dang time, right? That stuff adds up.
I have a banana cream latte iced addiction.
These things add up.
I do. And I have to really watch it.
Yeah. And the worst thing is these little $2 here, $1 here, $2.50 there, they add up. And we don't think they do. But you spend an extra, $5 a day, 20 days out of a month, that's $100.
Mm-hmm.
You do that 3 times a day for 20. You're talking real money, and it gets to real money real fast. So my guess is define overspends. Really, truly define overspend before you accuse somebody of overspending. Actually, genuinely define it and make sure that you're not violating your own standards there.
Okay. Yeah. Because
it's a common complaint, but unless you actually define what overspending is, then you're talking, likely not even talking the same thing. Okay, what's next?
My partner told me they're asexual a couple of weeks after we got married, and I'm feeling frustrated and trapped, and I don't know what to do. What are my options?
Well, is it still a couple weeks? You can get an annulment. What is it, like 90 days, something like that?
Yeah, you can.
So you can still do the annulment if you really feel like you've been lied to, which is kind of what you're feeling. Like, after you get married, now they tell you the truth about themselves, which is not right. That's something they should have discussed beforehand.
Yeah. Sex should have been discussed at some point before you say I do.
Oh, especially if it's something that, little things can kind of go, not say kind of, but, go unfound until later. It happens all the time. But that's not a little thing. And so the real problem is the dishonesty. It's not even the sexuality of this thing, it's the honesty. That's the real damage. You can work around sexuality, but you can't work around just fundamental dishonesty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so if you can't find a way around it, you still have annulment, and you know, divorce is always an option, especially if you've.
It does seem as if the relationship is gonna end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I hope that you have gentle partings.
Well, because on one part as gentle as possible, because there's no reason to do any other. Right? You carry that bag around with you. It's not even about them. You end up carrying that around with you. So you leave as gently as possible because it's best for you. But ultimately, yeah, you're going to have a very difficult time getting over the dishonesty. And so that's your soul searching. Because my guess is if they had the discussion about the sexuality, they may have been able to work through it and figure out, but it's the dishonesty after you've been married, after you've kind of sealed the deal. Now you wait. That's a next level type of dishonesty.
Yeah.
And so how can you ever trust that? Again, all right. Jeez. Let's move on.
Boyfriend won't visit me after my car accident because of his dog. What should I do? Okay, the dog is elderly and has vision problems.
Okay.
And he's afraid that the dog is gonna.
Okay, but doesn't he have to go to work and stuff?
Yeah.
He can be gone the dog can be left alone for a couple hours, unless she's like across the town, across the country or something. He's out of town.
No.
It's not the dog. He doesn't like hospitals, and he's not mature enough, even at 31, to admit it.
It creeps him out, dude.
Yeah. Now he should man up, and that's your real issue, is that he can't suspend these issues for. Now you can understand he can't hang around a long time, sometimes you can only put up with so much, right? So, but he should at least make the effort to come visit you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's using the dog as an excuse. And so what do? I don't know. That one depends how much you love him, oddly enough.
Yeah, are you gonna forgive him?
Well, it's not a forgive. Do you accept that this is part of who he is?
And
if you love him enough, then you accept as part of who it is. If you don't, you don't. It's one of those things. He's not going to change. He's 31. It is what it is. Hospitals, for whatever reason, freak him out. He's not going to be able to do it. And if you can accept the concept, what that means long term, then okay. If you can't, and again, the real issue is that he's blaming the dog rather than his issues with hospitals. Again, we go back to be honest about what you, right?
yeah.
She'd be having a different issue if he's freaked out about coming to the hospitals, rather than, I don't understand. His dog, really? That's hurtful. But
Yeah.
But if it's like he gets a panic attack when he comes into hospitals, how do I deal with this? That's a vastly different question than he's not coming to the hospital because of his dog.
No, why?
Because we're not smart.
Can't you just tell the truth?
Because people aren't smart.
Um,
We're afraid. Being a fear of rejection makes you do a lot of strange things. Fear makes you do stupid things, and this is one of those things. Fear of being rejected, because you feel, for whatever reason, he feels his anxiety around hospitals is more of a negative than wanting to take care of his dog. Wanting to take care of your dog is noble, right? Being afraid of hospitals is childish and makes you feel like a child. So you don't want to admit that, especially to someone you love, because it makes you feel weak and small.
see, y'all are complicated.
No, we're not. It's that's just human complication. That's not men or women. That's humanity right there. Okay.
What should I say to my ex's mom who's asked to meet in person so I can explain why I broke up with her son?
Well, unless you have a need, unless you liked her or something, yeah, and you want to explain it to her, you can tell her to pound sand nicely. There's no reason not to be nice. My guess is she liked you.
She misses you, man.
Yeah, she liked you. You were so good for him. Yes, but he wasn't good for me. That's how that conversation's gonna go. I was good for him. He wasn't good for me. Yet, therefore, we have split apart. That's probably where I would keep it. We just weren't good for each other, and you move on.
If you want to be nice, you can tell her, you have a phone conversation with her, because that way you can hang up if you need to. You can get off the phone, but I wouldn't do it in person.
Well,
Again,
unless you guys had a good relationship, but it doesn't really sound like that. So,
and if you want to be nice, you could say, but I'd like to be friends with you. There's nothing wrong with y'all going out and going for lunch every now and then.
I wouldn't, because she's just going to keep trying to sell you her son. So,
Oh, you think so?
yeah, because she likes her. She didn't like her. She wouldn't call and ask, why did you break up with her? Why did you together? That's what's happening.
Oh, I know what happened.
Uh,
She saw her grandchildren in this girl.
yeah, she liked her. She saw them as part of the family, and yeah, now it's all gone, and she's why? Yeah, I get it. Okay, so on to parenting questions.
Okay, how to keep my friends as a new mom? You're gonna have to make an effort, and you're not gonna see your friends who don't have children as often as you once did, probably.
Well,
Okay. Now, if you have or friends do have children, if they're older, you can have structured time with your child, and it's good for them to be around other kids. What do you think, babe? Oh, also, if you want to make new friends, I would suggest going to a mother's group in your area. There's always one. You can find one.
I think there's 2 periods of time that change your friend group. One is when you get married, and the second is when you have kids. That's because your needs and your friends' needs and your futures change, evolve, they divide. And so generally speaking, your friend group narrows, shallows. Right? You have fewer of them, but they're closer. They're more important.
Yeah.
And you actually get less time with them, but the time you have is more important. So my suggestion is forget the relationships you used to have are gone. The ones you have in the future are evolving.
Mm-hmm.
And don't know who those are. You don't know how that's going to play out yet, because, the future is unwritten. But as you said, you will have to make the effort, and those, because of your time limitations, you will have to choose. Be very careful about who you choose to spend your time with. And that will necessitate a narrowing of your friend group. You don't have time anymore to go out and go drinking 3 nights a week and come home and
sorry.
Those days are gone.
Yeah.
Thank God. Yeah, that's one of the things you realize, is thank God that happens at some point. So you don't want to keep your friends. You want to evolve your friends as you become a new mom. You find those ones who are supportive, and you hold on to them like gold. And the rest of them, they're still friendships. They're just not the same type of friendship that you used to have. And it's okay. It's how life is. You'll find new ones on this journey that we call life. All right. What are we next?
Baby days after daycare. Okay, she picks the baby up after a very loving environment.
Mhm.
Okay, in daycare, that in this woman's home, and so she's driving the baby back home, and during the drive, the baby is just sitting there, just staring into space.
Okay.
And then they get home, walk in the door, and the baby's just fine.
Okay.
And she's worried.
Why? Because the baby was either resting or in thought. Babies have thoughts, man. It's all good. Just driving, just enjoying the drive, man. It's all good. What's she worried about?
She's worried something's wrong.
Why? Because the baby was quiet during a drive?
Is every day.
So?
Well, the baby may be transitioning. You know, they transition. They takes them a little bit of time.
Yeah, it's a nice, many adults use that drive from home, from work to home to decompress.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't a baby do the same thing? Babies like drives, like riding in cars, right? It calms them down. We literally put babies in the car seats to put them to sleep. So why wouldn't we expect a baby who's had a long day at daycare to get in the car and relax? Seems like what's happening to me. Baby's relaxing during the car drive home. I don't understand what the problem is. This is the first time, Mom.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Yeah, okay, that's the problem. No, I'm going, what is the problem?
Well, she's afraid something's wrong at daycare.
Probably not. I mean, you can always talk to the other parents, but my guess is probably not. It's probably just the baby, like everybody else, transitioning from one thing to the next.
Yeah.
It's a nice, comfortable ride home. Car rides are comfortable for babies. They like the little bouncing thing. They enjoy that. And they're just enjoying the ride home. Probably enjoying the quiet. Okay. Daycares tend to be loud. So probably just enjoying the quiet. All right. But talk to other parents if you're really worried about something going on at the daycare. Okay. What's next?
My son has left to join the army. I miss him so, so much. Let me tell you what, he's missing you too. And when I went and joined the army, my mother wrote me a letter dang near every day. And let me tell you, they were gold. I treasured every single one of those letters. I still have some of them.
I know nothing about military life. I would not have survived. But I do know I saw a video the other day about some guy who talked about his went into boot camp. And he was there like 3 weeks, and his girlfriend hadn't written him a letter. So he's like, oh, well, eventually, says he didn't know at the time that the mail doesn't always get delivered properly when you're in the military. And so all of a sudden he gets 3 weeks of mail all at once, and she had written every single day. He thought his relationship was over, and because he hadn't heard from her in 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden, military mail. 3 weeks, she had written every single day. And that's when he knew he was set for life. He said, I knew. I found the one. Don't know why she wants me, but but clearly she does.
Well, excuse me, she figured he was busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he does. He's a man off in boot camp. He's not thinking of writing letters, but
well, there's not a whole lot of time for writing letters. When you're on guard duty at night in your barracks, you can. But if you're off away from your barracks doing guard duty, you're walking.
Yeah. So anyway, yes, just send letters is be my suggestion. And if there are family days, if memory serves.
Oh, and
so make sure you go on family day.
My mother also sent treats like Rice Krispie squares and stuff. And
is that enough for the squad?
Yeah. It was enough I shared with everybody in my unit
Yeah. So send enough of the unit.
in our room, in our barracks.
Yeah.
We had a room. There was 8 of us.
Yeah. So send enough find out how many people are in there and send enough for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll love you.
Okay. What's next?
13-year-old daughter is sneaking her boyfriend in.
Oh, well, that's classic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you really want to be, if this is serious, one of the first things that springs to my mind is talking about birth control.
Well, you could always just go nuclear.
And you
Talk to the boy's parents.
talk to the bear, and that was another one.
Talk
to his parents.
Yeah, because that means he's sneaking out of his house at
2:00 in the morning, yeah.
I have a hard time condemning this type of behavior because I committed this type of behavior at that age. So it's like I was this problem, kind of thing. And so it's mostly harmless, to be honest. Mostly harmless. Didn't do anything most of the time. But that's the problem, is mostly. Yeah, the problem is mostly. So, oh man, what do you do about it? That's a difficult one, because the harder you come down, the more you're actually creating the conditions where they're going to sneak out and kind of do it more the Romeo and Juliet effect, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so that's the hard one, is how to not make it worse.
So maybe if you could set up a time during the week that the boyfriend is allowed over for dinner and a movie with the family, and some time alone with your daughter with the bedroom door open, that set up conditions that are appropriate. Yeah.
Oh, the other thing you do, you can embarrass the crap out of them. Just be really blunt. Say, hey, I know you guys have been sneaking in. You got everybody in the family, and you kind of throw them under the bus. Just mortify them.
What I want to know is what Dad has to say. This was Mom.
Yeah, Dad's trying to not throw people through windows right now. This is about what's happening. That's why Mom was dealing with this.
Dad's ready to just really get in trouble, huh?
Yeah, he's trying to not go to jail. Okay, so what's next?
3-year-old seeing a ghost. Now, this is just very sad. Because he comes running up to his mother, heart pounding, all scared. I saw a ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 3.
He's likely seeing a shadow or something. There's likely something that he's actually seeing. A car drives by and it creates a light that comes through the thing, and it's and there's a shadow on the wall, and it looks like a freaking ghost to a 3-year-old, and he freaks out. Right. And it only happens when a car drives, pulls out of a driveway apartment complex from across the street. Right. So it doesn't happen all the time. Something goofy, these kind of things actually happen. So he's not seeing a ghost, but he is seeing something.
Mm-hmm.
And so something like a rearranging of the room can often solve these kind of problems, because whatever shadows he's seeing, it will no longer be there.
Okay.
So my guess is look for shadows. Think of ways lights can come into rooms.
Have him show you where he saw it.
Yeah, and try and pay attention to shadows. My guess is he is seeing something. He's seeing some kind of light, some kind of shadow effect, and it's these kind of things happen. All right, we missed this one.
Oh, 2-year-old won't stop taking seatbelt off.
Well, that's a nimble little 2-year-old. Most 2-year-olds can't really reach the buttons, right? On this.
Yeah.
Even though this is also a common thing, usually it's about 3 when the children start taking their seatbelt off. You can get covers that you can put on so it makes it harder for them to push the buttons. But that also makes it harder for you to take the buttons off, push the buttons in an emergency. So there's that. But I guess for a seatbelt, I guess it's more important that it stays on. But this is just reinforcing that the child needs to keep the. This is just reinforcing that the child needs to keep the seatbelt on.
Yeah. Sorry. But this is going to be a struggle until your child gets it.
Yeah.
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 You can't back down on this one.
No. And the hope is he doesn't do it on the freeway, because if he's on the side street, you can always kind of just pull over and put the seatbelt on and all that kind of stuff. But on the freeway, it's really, really dangerous. So, yeah, there's no other, just like anything else on a 2-year-old, you're just going to have to. He's being rambunctious. Just like anything else with a 2-year-old, you're just going to have to be repetitive. All right. So what is this next?
How long has your diaper bag last? How many have you went through? Now, this is a dad.
Yeah.
Single dad. And he wants a diaper bag that is going to last and it's going to be durable and it's going to last for the duration. Now, I don't know of a diaper bag that's going to take you through I don't know how many years of
Well, it's a
diaper
bag.
training.
It needs 2
So-
years. You're right. You need 2.5 years is what a diaper bag
so
needs.
now if you look online
Don't buy a diaper bag.
on Amazon, now I'll tell you what, they have diaper bags for men.
Don't buy a diaper bag. Buy a duffel bag. Like to buy a real man's bag that you would use to do work in.
Like go to the gym.
No, like you would use to carry your tools and stuff in.
That's what they have on Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to do it, it's going to cost you $150, $200, but yeah, it'll last you until they're teenagers. You won't be using it for diapers and stuff, but you'll still be throwing all kinds of crap in there.
Because you will need something to carry beyond the age of diapers. Okay. You still need something for snacks, meal, when
But
you go on picnics, stuff like this. A change of clothes. You got sleepovers. You have
Yeah, which is why it's to get a duffel bag. Itself.
swim practice.
But
yeah.
here's the thing. Just buy a cheap diaper bag and buy a new one every 3-6 months.
Under $20, dude.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with getting rid of your diaper bag and buying another one 6 months later that's going to fit your need. I get the male need. You want to, it's like you're buying a tool, right? You never want to get rid of it, but you're only going to need it for a little while. It only has to last you so long. So, don't overly worry about these things. There's so many things to worry about at raising a child. Your diaper bag is not one of them. Just get one, whatever you wish, whether it's a nice, big, expensive one or a cheap. Don't put that much thought into it. Just get one that's big enough to put your stuff in and move on. You've got far more things to worry about. I love that you're trying to do everything right. I absolutely love it, but put your focus where it's going to count, and your diaper bag is not it. Just get a bag. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now we're on to work questions.
Okay. Cure for return to work insanity. Okay, he was working remote from home.
Yep.
Now everybody's going back into the office.
Yes. You know why?
Why?
Because while individuals can be more productive remotely, teams cannot. And sadly, most offices, most work requires teamwork. And so that office insanity is actually called problem solving, productivity. Those things that, it can be an email, but an email will take all day. The conversation takes 5 minutes. So what's more productive? And so when you think about it that way. Try not to think about this office insanity. You're setting yourself up with a negative mindset going in, thinking about it as your team will be more productive. You can be more productive and you can earn more money in the long run. I mean, that's the goal of your job, right?
Right.
Just to make yourself more valuable so you earn more money. And you can only do that if your team is more productive. So my guess is the cure to return to office insanity is to change your mindset. You're preparing yourself for insanity, so you're going to expect it. So change your mindset. Okay.
Is it fair to ask for time and a half pay? He's going to be alone in the office for a whole day.
Yeah. Cry me a river.
Everybody's going to be like in a workshop or something.
Yeah, cry me a river. It's happening to me on Wednesday the 20th, coming up in a couple of weeks. It happens, man. No, it is what it is. You're the last of the Mohican. You're like that guy who's in the chain of the presidency chain when everybody meets for the State of the Union speech. They got all the important people. And one guy's got to go somewhere else, right, in some secure location. So just in case something happens and all those people die, we still have someone who can be the president.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Somebody in that chain, right, has to go off and go into a secure location just in case something happens. There's somebody who can make decisions, who can legally make decisions, right?
Nice.
And essentially, that's what you are. And you say, "Hey, you want time and a half of this?" Sorry, that doesn't work that way. Because unless something actually happens, you're still just doing your job. Yeah, you're going to be lonely that day, but it's all right. You're lonely that day. Just enjoy the peace and quiet that day. That's
really,
yeah. I get it though. Hey, should I ask for time and a half? You can ask. They ain't going to give it to you, but you can ask. Okay, so what's next?
Are working 2 jobs worth it?
Well, it depends what you mean. What your goals are. Are you talking 2 full-time jobs, a full-time job and a part-time job?
Yeah, full-time job and a part-time job.
Do you need the money? Then it's worth it. If you don't, maybe it's not. Maybe it is too much time away from your family and the extra money isn't worth it. But maybe you're struggling to pay your bills and so, like everybody else, you need that second job just to survive. And our cat is on camera. All right, Kitty. All right. So, I don't know. Is it worth it? Is to partly dependent on the jobs in you. Okay, what's next?
Is it worth asking a coworker you think doesn't like you why they don't like you?
No, why do you care? Is the question. Don't worry about it. Not everybody's going to like you, and that just has to be okay. You don't like everybody, do you? It's all right. Not everybody has to like you. You have to be civil.
It's work.
Yeah. Kitty, stop it. All right.
How do you ask for a transfer without bad-mouthing my manager?
You ask for a transfer.
And they ask you why?
You tell them you want a different experience. Or you think this new role would be more beneficial to your skill set, would be more beneficial to the company in this new role. You frame your transfer as benefiting the company as best you can.
Okay.
They know why. So you're not fooling anybody. Okay. I do get why you don't want to badmouth your manager, but you can say the truth without badmouthing it. And then you also frame it in a way that's beneficial to the company. Your skill set will benefit the company better in a different location. Okay. What's next?
Do you work here?
Huh?
Okay, he gets this. Do you work here? He's at Home Depot. He's wearing the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
The Home Depot shirt. He's got a name tag.
Yeah.
And people ask him, do you work here? It irks him.
Okay, what they're really asking is, can you help me? And they're just trying to be as polite as possible. They don't know if he might be on his break. He might just be walking through. He might not be his shift. So they're trying to be as polite as possible. Take it for how it's given rather than how you take it. You're accepting it the wrong way. They're trying to be polite. and softly ask for your help as softly as possible. Right? If you're on your break, they're preparing themselves to be heard that you're on your break, or you're just walking through, or whatever it is. So they're just trying to be polite.
Okay.
I get from his perspective, it seems silly, but from the perspective of a customer, hey, Kitty, can we put him out? So yeah, think of it from the perspective of the customer. Would be my suggestion, because the customer has a vastly different perspective on these things than the employee does, right? And they may only be seeing you from the back. They may not know it's just a short shirt from the back, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
How to ask for a different position in the same company? Global, full remote company.
You apply for the position. It's just like you would in internal things, and it's just like an external application. You just apply for it. It's a job posting. You want that job, and you apply for it, just like you would if you were outside the company. You just got it inside because you're already in there.
Okay.
People already know you. Yeah, you just apply. That's it. All right. So what do we have next is our intimacy question.
All right. What does my wife mean when she told me to be a man in the bedroom? I think she wants you to take a little more control.
Yeah. You are probably overly sensitive to her wants, needs, and desires, and her wants, needs, and desires are for you to take control of the situation. She doesn't want to think about it. And you've probably been trained since you were young, right? You have to ask permission during every step. But you're now man and wife. You have kind of discarded some of that. You don't have to do that all the time anymore. You still want to make sure they're participating, willingly participating. But once you start participating, you kind of know where everybody wants to go. But on the second part, she needs to be more clear. What the heck does that exactly mean?
Yeah, ask her.
Yeah. Because that's not exactly clear. Does she want her hair? Does she want her hair pulled, or does she want you to just be more, take charge ish type of thing? That's not helpful. All right. Okay, it's a criticism, but she needs to be more. If she wants improvement,
does she want to be tossed around and put in different positions or something?
Yeah.
What is she? Does she doesn't want to initiate, or what?
Yeah. We have to find out exactly what she means by that.
Yeah, you really got to ask her. Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine to learn it to help to prove you, but I need more guidance than that. Because what does that mean? I don't know. You want me to start using bad words? Is it verbal aggressiveness? What do you want from me here? So that would be our suggestion. You're going to have to ask her exactly what that means. Okay.
What are some non-sexual things I can do in public to turn on my husband? You can whisper in his ear. Tell him
creepy.
You can't wait until you get home.
That's just kind of creepy whispering. You guys really don't have to do that much. If you want to turn us on in public, just promise us something at home later. Then it's all we're going to be thinking about. So it's not that hard.
Hey, baby.
Hey, I got a surprise for you when you get home. Oh, really? Is it a nice one? Oh, yeah, you'll like it. Oh, now that's it. We're done.
Can we go home now?
What are we waiting for? Yeah, exactly. If you ever want us to go somewhere, there you go. To get us out of someplace. All right. So what's next?
Okay. Boyfriend only enjoys sex if I don't want it.
That's a weird one.
It is. What do you think about this?
Well, oddly enough, I've heard of it the other way. There's someone who only enjoys sex if they don't want it. I have not really heard it this way. Whereas if they don't like it, it's a strange thrill, and people but that's a fetish type thing. I don't know. I don't know what to think of this one. My guess is he's got an issue that he needs to deal with.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I didn't really think about this one all that much. I'm sorry.
No, he's got an issue that he's dealt with. Now, it might not be as serious of an issue as it appears to us. It could be a habitual thing, or, who knows?
Is it he just likes to be the one that makes you change your mind?
Well, it could be a role play type thing. People get into all different types of role play.
Yeah.
And so I would need more information to actually have any kind of a thing. It is quasi a red flag. I would say that just from this, I don't want to say it's a red flag because I don't know enough about what they mean by this.
Mm-hmm.
Because the differences could be, again, it goes back to what does it mean exactly? What does this mean exactly? Is it role playing or is it real? Anyway. So I need more information to give any type of educated thing, but it is an orange flag. I was going to say for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about the best description I can give it. Okay.
How can I be dominant? Male, be dominant while being the one on bottom, physically on the bottom.
Yeah.
Not
That's
being dominant.
Dominant is the attitude, not the position. If you're the one essentially controlling what's happening, then you're the dominant one.
So you tell them,
yeah,
to get on top.
Yeah. It's the physical position is not relevant in that. It's the attitude that you're bringing. Who's in control in that type of relationship?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter whether you're the one on the bottom or what's physically being done is irrelevant. It's how is that being done? Who's being the one in command, so to speak? Okay, what is next?
Who here has fallen asleep during sex? I passed out a couple times.
Almost anybody who's either drank too much or has had children and have been sleep deprived. And so this is probably relatively common considering those two factors and sex are high. You're sleep deprived, and so you kind of fall asleep during sex. It happens. And like you said, if you drink too much, engage in too much recreational activities, that can happen. Yeah. So, or if you've got a medical issue, I suppose, it's not impossible. But generally speaking, you either need lack of sleep or chemical assistance of some form to fall asleep during that type of activity. Pure exhaustion, right?
Pure exhaustion.
You're relaxed, and next thing you know, you're passed out. Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so what's next?
Is it wrong to ask my girlfriend to moan more during sex? He really likes it.
Well, I get it, but it's not going to be real, and so it's going to sound phony, and you won't like it. You're asking her to become an actress.
Yeah.
It's not her natural thing. So, my guess is she'd even try, but you're going to know the difference.
Yeah, well, sorry.
Yeah. So, and it's not going to sound the same. I get it. You like the verbal.
And you're going to make her self-conscious.
Yep. And that's the other thing. And people get self-conscious enough during sex. So she's just not one of those people who are loud. And I get it. You are maybe conditioned, maybe naturally or from previous experience to respond to noises. And she doesn't give you that response and you miss it because it's a signal of success. But you're just going to have to look for other signals of success. You'll be all right.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. And that's it for us tonight. We are done with that one. So, man, that was a roller coaster of a show today. We went all over the place. We went from dating duos to fundamentally, I guess, the overreaching opposite thought of this show was be honest with your partner.
Yes.
Because when you're not, you set up all kinds of problems. Oh, what a tangled web we weave. when we, what is it?
First practice to
To
deceive.
Yeah, and that is doubly important in your relationship. So me and Lubby, we are out of here tonight. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next week. So please remember to love everybody and have a good night.
Good night.